Shadenfreude, the experience of pleasure or joy in the face of the misfortune or troubles of another. Normally, it is harmless, like laughing when someone falls or does something embarrassing, like trying to put yourself out there as a potential candidate for president, only to show the world that you don't even know where the equator is.
Maduro was, as a leader, he canceled elections. He was an anti-democratic leader. That doesn't mean that we can kidnap a head of state and engage in acts of war just because the nation is below the equator.
But as we know, nothing about the Libretardis is normal, and many of them take their Shadenfreude to a darker place. Welcome, fellow noticers, to the Liberal Geographic, a virtual safari where we dive ever deeper into the minds of the politically deranged. Today's topic, the Shadenfreutard.
The Illinois Democratic women of Cook County led a Handmaid's Tale protest. More than 30 women showed up to rally against immigration enforcement.
Yes, protesting the enforcement of immigration laws by dressing as characters from a dystopia novel where women are not allowed to read, own property, or manage money and are forced to birth the children of their country's elites. This is like dressing as Harriet Tubman to protest animal testing for shampoo. But it's quite easy to comprehend when you understand that the Libretardis view everything through the lens of oppression. This self-actualized persecution complex is a core component of the Shadenfreutard.
I'm a victim of oppression.
You see, as long as the Libretardis view themselves as victims of oppression, then they can justify any atrocity at the hands of anyone that they deem an oppressor. Charlie Kirk perhaps being the most glaring example of this, in which Shadenfreutards used cherry-picked single-sentence quotes to assert that he was an evil bigot, so it's a good thing that he was brutally murdered. But for context, here's what he actually said about civil rights.
Rights Act were great, but the way it's now being implemented to force men in female bathrooms to push forward of the trans agenda, the intent of the Civil Rights Act is way beyond what it was originally.
I'm sorry, sir. The correct answer was Black Excellent, Black Lives Matter, 10,000 flags in your bio, and Free Palestine. Since your answer was thought-provoking and nuanced, which makes me uncomfortable, you are now a Nazi, and the court of public opinion sentences you to death. The Shadenfreutards, in fact, came out in such force in the wake of Kirk's death that people were literally getting fired for their unhinged posts regarding the matter. An investigation by Reuters found that over 600 Americans had been fired for their comments. More recently came the announcement that White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles had breast cancer, and Libretardis reacted perfectly reasonably because of course they didn't. Comments like this are typical of the politically deranged who cannot type a single sentence into Google before they open their mouth. Then of course there was Hulk Hogan, the legendary American icon who became the target of cancel culture in 2015 over things that he said in a private conversation secretly recorded in 2007. When Hogan died in 2025, the Shadenfreutards came out to pay their disrespects.
Hulk Hogan had a heart attack last night. All that hatred balled up in his chest. All that shit finally did its job. Took a long time. Took way too long, in my opinion.
Yes, because when a monumental figure passes away, the first opinion that matters is some random man bun with a pubic salad beard.
And I don't give a shit about Hulk Hogan, and I will not put politics aside.
The Libretardis can never put politics aside. They are literal NPCs who cannot process information that extends beyond their scripted dialogue. And then the Shadenfreutard did something unforgivable. They trespassed on holy ground.
In the beginning there was nothing. Then Chuck Norris roundhouse kicked nothing and told him to get a job.
Norris built his legacy through his fists and his heart. He inspired millions to better themselves with his endorsement of the Total Gym. He founded a charity to teach discipline through martial arts to get underprivileged youths off the street, and served in the United States Air Force. He starred in over 35 films and even had his own Saturday morning cartoon show. But forget all of that, because he was a Christian and he voted Republican, so he must have been an evil, bigot, fascist. Whoa.
You should know that Chuck Norris was a Trump supporter.
And he says it with such a somber tone, as if Norris ate a baby on live television. Let's have a moment of silence for the two remaining brain cells that fought to the death for this absolute twattlety goober to arrive at the conclusion that a man should not be able to rest peacefully because he had the wrong political opinions. And then there was this frothing Mountain Dew urine of a 40-year-old Virgin Energy article that was written by a man who looks like if Peter Griffin ate Seth Rogen. Then this anal bead palm tree came out to say forget his legacy because he was friends with Rudolph the Big-Nosed Reindeer.
It's cool with Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu.
Recently, on the Joe Budden podcast, Mark Lamont Hill was asked to eulogize Chuck Norris, and his answer was just brimming with Shadenfreutard estrogen.
What happened? When I saw Benjamin Netanyahu, first of all, Chuck Norris died today.
You went right to Israel? Come on, bro.
No, Benjamin Netanyahu shouted him out and said, "Thank you for being such a good friend to me." So I gotta say that fucked my head up a little bit in terms of how I.
This is literal mean girl bitch behavior.
Chuck Norris just died, and Chuck Norris was also a notorious far-right conservative. Chuck was also obviously a diehard Trump supporter. He was very much a MAGA.
The message of the Shadenfreutard and the Libretardis as a whole could not be clearer. If you love your country and you have a vested interest in the success of your people, fuck you, you bigot. Thank you for watching the Liberal Geographic, and thank you to our subscriber, Moo at Cows, for suggesting this topic. Please, subscribe for more.
Chuck Norris can clap with one hand. Chuck Norris can divide by zero. The dark is afraid of Chuck Norris.